Robert Kiyosaki has inspired so many. How about you? Here in today's video, I'm going to go through the 6 fundamentals of investing according to Robert Kiyosaki. Okay, let's get into it. Hey, what's up you guys? Lukas here from excelwealth.com. Great that you joined in today because in today's video, we will go through the 6 fundamentals of Robert Kiyosaki. Well, of course, when talking about investing, right? But before we go into the video, of course, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, be sure to click that subscribe button because that's the way how we can grow our community as well. And of course, if you haven't seen my book yet, go check out the link down below in the description to get a copy of my book. It's my latest book, of course, and it's all about investing, okay? Now, the number 1 fundamental, according to Robert Kiyosaki, is, of course, OPM. If you've checked out other videos, of course, you know what OPM is. But hey, if you don't, it's other people's money. Now, leveraging your money is the most important thing, according to Robert Kiyosaki, because, hey, you can use your own money to make money. Wouldn't it be nice to make money using other people's money? And at the same time, of course, you're just paying those people back for the money that they loaned you. And at the same time, you're taking your cut of the money that those people are giving to you. Now, wouldn't that be nice? Now, this is the most important thing. It's actually taking a certain debt, saying like, you know what? I'm loaning money to buy stuff that I actually want to have. The moment we say that to ourselves, it doesn't make any sense. It's like, you know, I want to get a loan to buy a car that I can't pay for. You know, that doesn't make any sense. And then all of a sudden you're driving in a car that's actually too much out of your range. Then it doesn't make any sense to take money from other people, right? Robert Kiyosaki doesn't advise you to loan money to buy the stuff that is out of your reach so that you can have a luxury life for just a short while and after that be poor. Robert Kiyosaki doesn't teach you that. Robert Kiyosaki actually says that OPM, other people's money, should be used to make money. And that is a very important difference of just taking out a loan to buy the stuff that you really want to, next to taking out a loan to make money using that money. And that is very important. So Robert Kiyosaki always says, we live in a society, no matter what society we're in, each country is set up in such a way that the people who take up a certain debt to make money, they get the benefits of the taxes. Take a look at all the countries. There is no country in the world that has no debt at all. Why? Because they're all using each other's money to make money as a government. And that's the interesting part. Now, there's a reason why the US is called the $1 trillion debt country. Why? Because yeah, they're just using other people's money to keep on making money. The only thing what they do is paying off the interest rate, and once in a while they pay off the principal. Because, you know, you can just make money using other people's money. So why would you pay off a certain debt? You're just paying off their interest. You're just doing what is necessary. And next to that, you're just making money using other people's money. And that is why it's so important to use other people's money to make your own. If your property just makes $1,000 in a month and your expenses and costs are just still less than the income, then that's it. Your net income will be just the amount that is remaining. And that is the most important thing. You have money left using other people's money. That's the whole idea on OPM. Now, the second fundamental that Robert Kiyosaki always talks about are the 3 types of income. Now, the 3 types of income, you might be thinking, 3 types of income? Isn't there like 2? This is what we learn in schools. We always talk about 2 types of income. Now, there is not always true. There is actually 3 types of main income. Now, the first type is very simple. It's the active type. The word already says it. You have to be active to be able to get income out of this type of income. Makes very sense. The word already says it. Take a look at this. The moment you work, you put in time and effort, at the end of the month, you get your payment. That's your salary. That's called an active income. Robert Kiyosaki actually says something about this type of income because this type of income is charged with the highest level of tax, which doesn't make any sense, you might think. But yeah, it does. Because the active income, most people in the world get their income through active income. That's the reason why the government has to charge this group of income the highest tax, because that's the way how the government make their money. So if you have an active income, most likely your taxes will be somewhere between 25% up to maybe 40%, depending on what country you live in. If you live in the Netherlands, yes, our country, the active income is charged the hardest. You'll just be beaten up every time. The moment your salary check says you make $5,000, you only get like 3. So your check looks very impressive, but in the end, you don't get that much. So the second type of income is called portfolio income. Now you might be thinking, hey, I haven't heard of this one before. Yes, because the third one you most likely hear is passive income. And passive income is, of course, the third type of income, but I'll get to that in a bit, okay? Portfolio income, actually the word already says it. You have a portfolio of some things, and those things generate money for you. For example, dividend stocks, or when you have a home, you bought it up, you repaired it, fixed it up, and then sold it off again. That's flipping a house. So the moment you make money out of deals, that is not your active income, but you just put in some money and you got some money out. Or for example, selling a stock off. The moment you bought a stock and it grew in equity and you're selling it off, all that money that is not completely active income because you're not really doing it as a job and at the end of the month you get paid. It's also not completely passive, because passive income is the moment you do the work up front and then you get all the benefits at the end. That's passive income, that you don't have to do work anymore, and theoretically you could get money for an eternity. That's passive income. Do the work up front, get paid all the time, like that. That's passive income. Portfolio income is something in between. You do some work and you get paid, like, hey, I just sold off a house and with $20,000 in profit. That's portfolio income. And of course, tax-wise, active income is charged with the highest tax. The passive income is charged with the lowest tax, because hey, the reason why passive income is seen with the lowest tax, it's like having money on your savings account. You don't do anything with it, it grew by itself. So yeah, duh, we can't really charge you any taxes on that because you didn't do anything for that. This is why you should have your money over here in passive income, because you're not doing anything for all the money that you get. But because you did a great job up front, causing you to get money later on, hey, that's super smart. And of course, portfolio income taxes are on average, depending on which ones you get, of course. If you do dividend stocks, of course, yes, you do get charged tax because, it is seen as an income on one end. It's not really doing work, but hey, government's got to tax you somewhere, right? But depending on, flipping houses, if you do that once a year, okay. But if you do that like 6 times a year, government just says, hey, dude, that's just your work. You just get so much money out of that. Really depending on the situation, but this is kind of the way. You have to do a lot of work in the active income and you get taxed high. And if you think about this, it's like, oh my goodness, I'm just being ripped off by the government authorities. And yes, that's the third fundamental of Robert Kiyosaki as well. Let's go into it. Now, the third fundamental of Robert Kiyosaki is the financial education. Like I just mentioned before, you are taught in schools that you should learn for a certain profession, and that profession will make you money. In a way, it does make sense. You know why? Because we're all being taught in schools that this is the way. You should work hard, learn for a certain profession, and do that profession long so that the whole society can profit from that. In our education system, we are not being taught how to make money. Now, if you really think about that, we're not being taught how to make money. What we are being taught is that you should hit that like button, because that's the way how we can, influence YouTube's algorithms, right? But yes, we are not being taught how to make money in our education. Now you might be thinking, but Lukas, you're the university professor. But I'm also teaching my students, hey, what is success according to you? And how do you make money in your life? The interesting part is this: all students have been brainwashed for so many years already. The moment I come there to teach them about this, they're like, yeah, I'm a bit skeptical, Lukas, I don't know. And then from the hundreds of students, I maybe get 1 or 2 students who say like, that's not a bad point, Lukas. I think it's not a bad thing. This is how the whole school system is set up. You as an individual, me as a professor. In a university, you can't just change the world, snap, just like that. It doesn't work like that. But what we can do is inspire people around us, just like Robert Kiyosaki is doing. That's what I'm doing as well as a university professor. I inspire my environment, saying like, hey, if this is not what you want, if this is not what you thought it would be, you know where to reach out to. Reach out to me, because I can help you if you want to. only if you want to. Now, financial education, we're actually being built up in a structure that you should find a job and live your life trying to get rid of the debt that you have. Because the moment you're done in college or in university, what happens is you have a huge student debt, maybe of $100,000, and you're trying to get rid of that student loan. But next to that, you bought a house, you bought a car, and all of a sudden you got more debt to live in, which is actually a great thing because it's OPM. But in schools, we're being taught, saying like, hey, you should get rid of your debt as soon as possible. But instead of that, I always teach my students, there are two types of debt. You've got the good debt, you loan money, like Robert Kiyosaki says. You loan money to make money with that, or you loan money to buy the gratification things. Buy that new phone, buy the new car, buy the things that don't make you any money. In schools, you're not being taught there are two types of debt. In schools, you're only being taught that there's only one type of debt, which is debt that you shouldn't have. So try to get rid of the debt as soon as you can. What happens is that whole your life, you're working to pay off that debt. Instead of, you know what? Leave the debt that's okay to have and make money with the debt that you have. The interesting thing is this. The government doesn't mind that there are rich people in our society, because in the end, most likely the rich people are also in the government themselves. But they want to keep the working society working. Because if everybody would do what the rich do, who's going to work? Who's going to work if everybody is being taught in these school systems, you don't have to work? If you take a look at the history of society, there was always a rich society and a poor society that had to work. Because if that doesn't work like that, then I don't know. But it doesn't mean that everybody still has to work. You, for example, watching this video, if you believe, hey, I don't want to be working for my money, make a choice in your life. Now, the fourth fundamental of Robert Kiyosaki is, of course, investing for cash flow. Now, there's a reason why Robert Kiyosaki has called his board game Cashflow. Cash flow is, of course, making money that just flows. The money needs to flow. If your investment is just to make money, but has a continuous flow of money coming in, then yes, you're just making money. Well done. You got a system that gets you money. But you still have to do work for that. That is not called cash flow. If you only get money out of stocks, that's not called an asset. That's actually just called a system that works for you right now. But the moment you stop doing that, it doesn't work anymore. This is why Robert Kiyosaki always teaches us that you have to invest in assets that generate cash flow. And yes, property is one of them. Now you might be thinking, hey, what is the other one then? Well, for example, royalty on books. The moment you have written a book and the moment people buy that, you get royalty for every copy that you sell. You don't have to do the work anymore. You only wrote a book in the beginning and you reap the benefits later on. This is why writing a book or buying property are very good investments for cash flow, because cash flow keeps on coming in. Because the book, I don't have to do anything about the book anymore practically. If I want to, I have to write a second version, but I don't have to do right now. Every time somebody buys a copy of my book, I get royalty. Same goes for property. The moment somebody lives in your property, they just keep on generating some rental income, and that's your cash flow. And at some point, you don't really need to pay off the mortgages anymore because you've paid off the mortgage, and then all the money that comes in is your cash flow to keep. Now, the fifth fundamental of Robert Kiyosaki is, as you can see on the board, investing is not risky. Now, you might be thinking, hey, that's not true. Investing could be very risky. Yeah. But if you really think about it, what is the risky part about investing? Now, it's not that, stocks are risky in themselves, or real estate is risky in themselves, or buying exotic cars is a risky thing by themselves. No. You know what is risky? Take a look at yourself. You know who is risky? You. If you don't have any knowledge on stocks, then if you start pumping in money in a certain stock, you don't know what you're doing, then what happens is most likely you're doing a risky thing. The stock itself is not a risky thing. No, you can't blame a stock for the things that they do. The risk is you. You're taking a risk in a certain area. You're taking a risk in buying a certain property that is not, for example, in the best location. Or you're buying a property that is completely broke and you can't fix it. You're taking the risk as a person. So in Robert Kiyosaki's fundamentals of investing, you are the risk. If you don't have any knowledge or anything, most likely it can be very risky. But now you might be thinking, yeah, but if I'm the risk, what can I do to learn to invest? Well said. What can you do to learn to invest? This is why Robert Kiyosaki always says, don't do it by yourself. Learn from other people who've done it before you. Now, if you want to be investing in property, for example, why not take a property mentor? If you want to start making money on the stock market, why not take a mentor in investing? But pick the mentor that fits your style. Now, if you're, for example, a day trader, then take a mentor who's day trading. If you like to be passively investing one amount and just leaving it in for a while, then find that mentor that fits your style. This is very important. Investing is not risky. You are, because you didn't do your due diligence. You didn't do your research up front. So investing isn't risky, but you are. This is why you have to learn. You have to change and you have to adjust if you don't want to have all those risks. And failing and learning from those mistakes is a great thing. If you don't fail, you'll never learn. Why do we take on a mentor? It's to help you narrow the failing so that you can still grow, yet still fail, but don't fall so hard. That's the whole idea of learning from somebody else. And talking about learning, maybe you should click on the subscribe button. Then you'll learn more from this channel. Now, the sixth fundamental of Robert Kiyosaki is, as you can see on the board, raising capital. Now, what do I mean with raising capital? If you don't have any money and you want to start investing in something, raise the capital. Find ways to grow your money so that you can invest in yourself and then start growing. Now, I've had students before who said, Lucas, I want to take some coaching from you, but I know that you're a little bit out of my reach and I can't pay your coaching. What should I do? And I'm like, okay. There are two ways. Either you're going to work for me for free, and while you're working for me for free, you learn while you're doing so. That's the first thing. And yes, I sometimes do take mentees like that. And on the other end, of course, I'm like, okay, raise your own capital, find your ways to make it happen, because the moment you're in such a position that you know that you need something to make it happen, you'll make it work. The moment you think about it, I need to raise $10,000 to make something happen. I want to learn something. All of a sudden, you will make it happen to raise that $10,000. But if you never think about raising capital, it's never going to happen. This is why writing the words, writing the goal down that you can see it every day is so important. Raising capital to fulfill your goals and your purposes. This is why it's so important to think about it. If you never think about it, if you never set your focus to it, raising capital is not going to happen. And of course, these are the 6 fundamentals of Robert Kiyosaki when we're talking about investing. And if you liked the video, be sure to hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And of course, every time you want to be notified a new video comes out, be sure to hit that notification bell as well. And of course, if you haven't checked out my book yet, down below in the description, you can click the link and get a copy of my book. I thank you very much, and I'll see you on the next video. Happy investing. Bye-bye.